Mikel Merino continues to start up front. Top scorer for Arsenal in the calendar year of 2025. Ray Parlour, how impressed have you been with Mikel Merino? A man who had never played striker up till being called upon in February of this year.
Yeah, he's been absolutely brilliant. I mean, he's got lots of experience, we know that, but he's led the line very well. His work rate is excellent. You know, I think the Brentford game or the one before, he run 13 kilometres, which is a lot for a game. So, you know his commitment's there, and he seems to read the game very well, like a striker does. We know he's a midfielder really, but he's done a wonderful job, and it just shows you how well he's doing that Mikel Arteta is keeping with him up front, because he scored a wonderful goal against Brentford where he got crossed and great header, and he's been excellent. He's got a good relationship, obviously, with Zubimendi. His record at Spain has been brilliant this year as well, scoring lots and lots of goals. So, he deserves to be in that team, and that's what you want. You need that. If you're going to be a successful side, you need competition for places, and Arsenal certainly have on every single position. There is a lot of competition. They've got injuries at the moment, but that midfield is very competitive, and Merino at the moment is leading the line very well, and Gyökeres will have to wait and try and get back in that side now.
Okay, but Ray, I want to pick up a little bit more on Mikel Merino. I mean, if we look at some of his numbers playing as a number 9. He scored a brace against Slavia Prague recently in the Champions League. Like you mentioned, he got that goal against Chelsea. I said he's Arsenal's top scorer in 2025, scored and assisted against Brentford. But where does he operate at his best when he is a striker? Because it seems that when he's able to drop deep, but still be able to pop up at those crucial moments, he has a real knack for it. That's when he's at his best, as opposed to being just a target man up front, just being a static striker. Do you think that's a fair assessment? Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, I mean, he's an all-round player. He'll turn up on the wing sometimes, and, he can do his little bit, but he's been so effective, he really has. He's really good in the air. He's a big lad, and he seems to read the ball, read the game very well. He's very effective. He's efficient in that midfield. He keeps it simple, like a lot of the players do. But he seems to pop up in really, really good areas, and he can see a pass as well. But he scored some really vital goals. Obviously, Chelsea was the vital goal, and last week the first goal against Brentford. And he's become a really important player now. But he does pop up into really, really nice areas, you can see here. And he does read the game very well, and he's been such an important goal player for Arsenal, and like a lot of players have been, like Declan Rice and Zubimendi coming in, but Merino certainly scored some really, really vital goals. That one was very important there. Great header again, and he seems to just read the ball well. He sees the flight of the ball, he makes his run, and that is a cracking goal. It really is, because it's a great ball in from Ben White. It's getting across your man and directing it into that far corner was an excellent goal. So I think the fans will be really on his side, and he's done so well for Arsenal being up there. And as I said before, if he can keep banging the goals in like he has done, he will stay in that side. Simple as that.
David James, your thoughts are on Mikel Merino. Does it make it harder to set up defensively when you have, not to say an unknown quantity, but not a traditional striker operating in that role?
Well, I mean, this season, probably more so than any other season, the Premier League and the way that teams play has fundamentally shifted. And if I can quickly mention, what's happening at Liverpool with regards to the amount of direct balls they're facing. What Arsenal are doing in a similar way, having bought Gyökeres, the striker, are doing what Arsenal were doing maybe years ago, which was playing without a striker, with Jesus as their kind of the goal getter, and there wasn't a recognised strike. So I think Mikel Arteta has the options, as Ray says. I mean, when you've got someone who isn't an out-and-out striker necessarily, being able to get in those positions, score those goals, along with the likes of Saka, the long likes with Eze. I mean, I think from a defensive point of view, it's an absolute nightmare, because most of centre-half's time are spent not picking anyone up. So yeah, they've kind of gone back into an old school formation, if you like, even though they got the personnel to play what would be a traditional number 9 role. We saw last season, didn't we, where he'd pop up and score a couple of goals and sort of help Arsenal with their chances of winning the Premier League, or even competing in the Champions League. So this season it seems to be coming to fruition. Aston Villa are going to have a nightmare, and one of the problems that Aston Villa have faced already this season, I said to Ray just off air, is that when Villa get themselves ahead, They don't defend particularly well. It gets a little bit desperate, and I think that if this happens in the game today, will fall straight into Arsenal's hands, because the likes of Merino will be able to operate in so many different places, and Villa won't know what to do.